Yo, how's it going, everybody? First, I just want to say welcome to the channel. I'm the Grass Ninja, and today we're gonna be going over some Boruto, Naruto, Next Generations, predictions, and theories, which will include information from the anime, manga, and even the light novels. And with that being said, we're gonna hop right into the video in 3, 2, 1, let go. Intros aside, let's talk about Baryon Mode, how it works, what inspired it, the power, the speed, its drawbacks, all of it. We're going to get into it today, right now. Here we go. Alright, so Baryon Mode, or Baryon Mode, however you want to pronounce that word, alright? Debuted in Boruto chapter 51, towards the very end of the chapter, where we got to see the Naruto peeking out from the little smoke and staring down Ishiki. That was the first time we got any glimpse of Baryon Mode, but the form made its official debut in Boruto chapter 52, and we got to see a full colored version of the form on the cover page of that chapter. It looks amazing. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's probably my favorite form. It looks the coolest. Like, this made me think, bruh, like I used to think Sasuke's final Susanoo, like, you know, the 10-tailed Susanoo, bro, I used to think that one, like the Indra's arrow Susanoo, I used to think that was my favorite transformation, or favorite looking thing, you know, whatever, the coolest jolt from, no, Baryon Mode by far looks the coolest out of any transformation we've seen from any Naruto character to date. And you can, you know, I don't care, like, hey, go ahead, leave a comment who you think your who's got the coolest aesthetic in the Leaf Village or in the Naruto verse, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, for me it used to be like tied between, you know, Obito, 10 Tails Obito, or you know, like Sasuke, right? Sasuke with the 10 Tails Susanoo. So now we got Baryon Mode, and that form just makes these forms look like nothing. All right, so the form itself looks so freaking gorgeous. We got a nice orange tint on the cloak. We get to see the Nine Tails, like the accents of the Nine Tails face, they appear more strongly on Naruto's face. It makes it look like this. It's a true fusion between the two of them, which is an appropriate thing that we should be. It's just appropriate that it looks that way because the form itself was referred to be very similar to a nuclear fusion reaction. Okay, so let's jump right into that explanation from there. Right, so the Nine Tails explains to us how the form works by saying we got to think of it like a nuclear fusion reaction. Right, it's similar to the principle of how the sun produces its energy. Okay, now if you guys didn't know, the sun that we see in the sky is just another star, like we see any star at night. It's just the closest star to our planet, which is why its light has such a strong influence on our planet, giving us night and day, right? Now, the sun produces energy through a process known as nuclear fusion, where it basically takes two particles, two atoms, and it fuses them together. The atoms it uses in the star are basically hydrogen atoms, so it's one proton, and they take another proton and they fuse them together, creating an atom that consists of two protons, all right? And in that fusion reaction, you get a ton of heat, energy, radiation, and a slurry of subatomic particles that get spread out throughout the star, and those subatomic particles can vary. All right, now if you guys are familiar, we used to see this in school all the time in like chemistry and science class. If you're familiar with the periodic table of elements, then it's not too hard for you to grasp the idea. But in particle physics, or in quantum physics, there is another periodic table of subatomic particles. All right, now in that list of particles, or subatomic particles, there is a baryon particle, and that basically is where the name Baryon Mode is inspired from. They basically took one of these subatomic particles from the periodic table of subatomic particles, and they used it to give Naruto's new transformation a pretty cool name. If you were wondering where the hell they got the name Baryon from, then now you know. Okay, and the whole theory doesn't matter according to what the Nine Tails says, because he goes on to say that the theory doesn't matter. He says, never mind, bro. The theory doesn't matter. What's important is that my chakra and your chakra are serving as the kernels to produce a whole new type of energy, a whole other type of energy. So the Baryon mode doesn't, like the Baryon energy isn't chakra. It's a completely brand new type of energy that consumes chakra in order to exist, okay? Which is important, so keep that in your mind. Baryon energy has to consume chakra in order to exist in the first place, okay? So Naruto asks, how is this form different from like his other forms? Like how's Baryon mode any different from Kurama mode or like Sage of Six Paths mode? Like, you know? And the Nine Tails explains it very beautifully, and if you haven't seen it already, go ahead and check my other video I did last week, Naruto's True Power Explained. I'll leave it linked up there in the top and in the description, so you know, go ahead and check it after this video, or you can pause right now, go check it out, come back, do your thing, you know. I'm gonna tell you how to live your life, but I recommend you go watch it, okay? So the Nine Tails explains this very beautifully. He says, those other modes, basically, you know, Kurama mode, Sage of Six Paths mode, right? He says those other modes involve taking chakra that you've acquired from elsewhere and simply using it, okay? So when Naruto utilizes Kurama mode, he basically just reaches somewhere that he has it stored inside his body and utilizes the Nine Tails chakra. In my previous video, I called these shelves, okay? So Naruto just pulls from the Nine Tails shelf and he relies solely on that shelf of chakra, and that's what Kurama mode is. Same thing with Six Paths mode. Like Naruto is able to utilize Sage of Six Paths mode without being in the Kurama cloak. Alright, and that's what we see when he has the yellow Sage mode eyes without any pigmentation over his eyelids, right? That is Sage of Six Paths mode, and then he can stack that mode with his Kurama mode, which means he's basically pulling from two different shelves and he's stacking those chakras on top of each other in order to create his Sage of Six Paths Kurama mode, right? But Baryon mode is a completely different beast, in the words of the Nine Tails. He says, but this is a totally different beast, as the raw materials to create this energy, the Baryon mode energy, uses the Nine Tails chakra and Naruto's chakra, and they get consumed until one or both parties die, which means if Naruto runs out of chakra in the during this form, the form ends because Naruto died. If the Nine Tails runs out of chakra, then the form ends and Nine Tails will die, right? That's what the Nine Tails is explaining to us. So he's basically saying one or both of us is going to end up dying from this form. There's no way around that. So we have to basically manage our time and all of our energy appropriately. He says don't waste time on any superfluous thoughts or trying any tricky moves, because it'll be a waste of your power. Literally just focus on hitting your target, right? And that's when we got to go into like the drawbacks and the power and the speed that's given to you when you access Baryon mode, alright? Now, Baryon mode's rather interesting because it's stated and shown to us on multiple occasions that Baryon mode Naruto is above Ishiki when it comes to terms of speed and power, like at least feats wise, okay? Because Naruto, for one, in Baryon mode, we have a couple different statements. So we have visual proof of Naruto being faster than Ishiki because he's able to dodge all of his attacks when Naruto first initiates Baryon mode. Like Ishiki is throwing all these attacks at him and Naruto's just dodge, 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 bob, weave, bob and weave, right? And then he literally catches Ishiki with his first blow and knocks him to the ground on his knees, okay? So one, we already know he's faster than Ishiki because he can easily dodge his movements. And then two, Naruto's first strike in Baryon mode dropped Ishiki to his knees, okay? Then second, we have another statement for power where the Nine Tails straight up says this power is immense. It should definitely exceed his. Now when he says his, he's referring to Ishiki. And when he says this power, he's referring to Baryon mode. So basically the Nine Tails is saying the Baryon mode the Baryon Mode's power is so immense that it should definitely exceed Ishiki's, right? Then he goes on to say, however, we're not going to be able to win in this fight because we'll probably end up dying before Ishiki does. And this is when, like, the fight flips to, like, a second. Like, this is when Naruto has to change how he's thinking about them, because proven stronger. And if you don't believe me when he's faster, it's not only that he was simply dodging, but he was doing stuff that even Sasuke was impressed by, and Ishiki was impressed by. Because one, he tried to hit Naruto in the face. Like, he tried to take out Naruto the way he took out one of Kash and Koji's clones by shooting those 3 black rods straight into Naruto's face, and that's 3, so that's 2 for the eyes, 1 through the nose and mouth, and Naruto just caught those point blank in range before they ever expanded. And then 2, Ishiki tried to drop those black cubes on Naruto, which just he can summon instantly, so they manifest instantly. Naruto caught them as soon as they appeared, threw them back at Ishiki, and then when Ishiki dashed backwards in order to dodge Naruto returning his attack, Naruto on some Dragon Ball shit flew behind Ishiki and then kicked him back to the ground. Okay, so he's already faster than him because he outpaced him. Sasuke was already impressed with his ability, and then the Ninetales straight up says that he's more powerful than him. He just doesn't have as much time. So Naruto has to switch up his thinking and stop fighting with the objective to knock him out or kill him. He starts fighting with the objective to just outlast him, because the Ninetales points out this form's drawback is actually its greatest strength, okay? So the drawback to this form is that since it consumes up your chakra in order to function, like, the Baryon energy can only exist through the consumption of chakra. So if Naruto runs out of chakra, he runs out of Baryon mode and he dies, right? So he's on a ticking clock. But Ishiki was also on a ticking clock because of the circumstances of his revival, right? Jigen was not a substantial host for Jigen's body, or not for Ishiki's body, so Jigen was eventually going to collapse and Ishiki would have died within like 3 to 4 days. Naruto with Baryon mode was able to shave off Ishiki's lifespan, making his the amount of time he had left to live lower and lower with every time he connected. Because the Naruto says the downside is that Baryon mode shortens our lives, but that's the key, because since all chakra is connected, the same power that comes into being from the bits of our lives also shaves off his life when it comes into contact with him. Now, man, I feel like I'm in church, like, deciphering the Bible right now. But basically, the Ninetales straight up says, like, since the downside to Baryon mode is that it shortens our lives, we're going to use that to our advantage, because we understand, since the Sage of Six Paths taught us that all chakra is connected, this same power, Baryon mode, that comes into being from the bits of our lives, that comes into being from the consumption of our chakra, will also shave off Ishiki's chakra whenever it comes into contact with him, because all chakra is connected, and the nature of the Baryon mode is to consume away your chakra. So as long as Naruto is making connections with Ishiki, he will start draining his life force, which means Naruto doesn't have to focus on landing heavy blows anymore. All he has to do is hit Ishiki. So all he has to do is create diversions, counter strike, and grapple. Okay, so the Ninetales straight up tells him, like, change up your tactics. So you're not fighting like for knockout. You're more like aiming it to be like a boxer who's trying to win by decision. You're just trying to land more punches and make it clear to the judges that I'm dominating in this fight. Okay, so the beautiful thing about this form is that, one, it like low-key confirms my shelf theory. 2, they reference Ninshu, because since all chakra is connected and everyone is connected to each other, Naruto is able to steal away your life force with his new transformation. He can literally put his hand on your chest and then slowly rip away your life energy, which is badass. Okay, and then 3, dude, he usually in this form, like, he has options. He can choose whether or not to use power that's strong enough to drop beings like Ishiki to their knees, speed that makes people like Ishiki look slow, or he can decide, I'm gonna just hold you and kill you. Which is crazy. So Baryon mode, on top of just looking badass, functions in a very sinister kind of way, because it doesn't matter, like this form gives him multiple routes to victory, because either he needs to like straight up demolish you with the hands, or he just needs to drain you of all your life until you die. which is ridiculous, man. That's just sad. I mean, you could say the form was created in order to overcome the overwhelming threat that was Ishiki, because at no point in time before this form showed up did we even think that there was a way for like Naruto and Sasuke to survive, okay? But you know, you can call it an ass pull if you want to. I think the form is badass. I love how it looks, the way it functions. I'm a super science nerd on that astrophysics and quantum physics level, so it's like when they were like, yo man, this form functions like nuclear fusion, I was hype, because that got me thinking all sorts of stuff. Because towards the end of it, you know, we understand the Nine Tails lied, right? The Nine Tails at the end of Baryon Mode told Naruto that he lied about the price of this transformation, because he said the price of this form was my life, not yours. So Naruto's life was never at risk from the use of Baryon Mode, which means you could think of this as a Nine Tails exclusive transformation. Instead of the Nine Tails fusing up his chakra with Naruto's chakra, you could think the Nine Tails was collapsing his chakra on itself, causing it to fuse together and create its Baryon energy, right? Which means if it does work that way, then any character could technically start collapsing their own chakra shelf and then creating this Baryon shelf of energy, which you know, is a process that I guess you can't turn off, because once you start it, the fusion reaction just kind of sustains itself. It's like a self-sustaining fusion reaction, which is why the Nine Tails said it's very similar to the principle of the sun works, because once that nuclear reaction starts, it's self-sustaining, okay? It's a dynamo, so it's self-sustaining. But, you know, man, I'm going off tangent, so let me know what you guys think about Baryon Mode. Let me know if there was anything you want to add to it. Add it in the comments below, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, follow me on social media. I'm on TikTok primarily. I haven't posted in a while, but I'm planning on doing a little short video on, you know, Jigen versus Kashin Koji, the anime, and look out for more content from me. You know, hit the bell icon if you made it this far to the end, because next week, next Friday, I swear to y'all, I'm going to have a huge theory video that comes out where we explain the Baryon Mode shelf theory. So it's very important that you watch this video, the video I did last Friday, and the video that's coming out next Friday. So that way, it all comes together in one beautiful thing, and you guys can just enjoy after that, huh? So it's like, you know, I don't want to spoil the theory too much, but let's just say it's possible for other characters to potentially have a Baryon Mode. It's possible for people like Kawaki or Boruto or Code, or, you know, anyone that has multiple different shelves or pools of chakra stored inside their body. So Sasuke, you know what I'm saying? It's possible for a lot of different people to utilize a Baryon Mode like transformation. Not to say it'll last as long as the Nine Tails did, because the Nine Tails has a massive sum of chakra, and we don't know if the Nine Tails is gonna come back, you know, resurrection and all that stuff. So yeah, man, that's the next theory video. So go ahead, you know, subscribe, man, before you miss it. And yeah, man, let me know what y'all think. Peace. Have fun. Be nice to each other. Later.